Hello, my name's Rob Farquhar and I want to take a little bit of time to tell you about this little game called FTL, aka Faster Than Light, and why I think it's worth you plonking down $10 to get your mitts on. Now, FTL is available on Windows, Mac and Linux, so if you've got a personal computer you pretty much have no excuse not to get it. But in and of itself, it is just a fun little game. Even though, as you can see, the graphics are firmly 2D, they are still well realised and look pretty good. And FTL is pretty much about a game of not exactly space exploration, but it's for fans of Firefly and Battlestar Galactica and anyone who's wanted to send their crew to raise the shields or put more power to weapons, and I'll pretty much show you what it's like as I go for the next few minutes. Now, when you start off the game, you only have one ship available to you. There is a list of 9, each with a variety of layouts, but you can only unlock them through playing through multiple times. And so far, I've not even made it to the end, yet I am still having bags of fun with it. So, best way I can think of describing it is that it's kind of like 3 science fiction board games in one. This little window here is pretty much all it tells you about the story. You're a Federation courier trying to make it back to headquarters with some data that you're carrying, and all the while outrunning a rebel fleet from sector to sector. So let me make the first jump. This is the main board of the game actually, and as you can see I've got 3 crew members aboard this ship who you can assign to monitor various subsystems. Your starting ship has a few shields, weapons, engines, life support, a medical bay, sensors, door control, which seems odd until you get further down, and piloting. Now, in order to make a jump, you've got to have a working engine and somebody at the helm to calculate the jump. Now, this is the second board, which is the beacon map of the given sector that you're in. As you can see, the sector is littered with beacons that you can jump to and explore, and each one has a random event associated with it. Also, as I understand it, the individual maps are also generated randomly, and you can have certain environmental conditions like nebulae. I'm going to jump to this unvisited location and we'll see what's there. Empty space. So let's jump again. Now, if there was something here, this jump button wouldn't come up automatically, it would take time to charge up. Now, my scanners have told me that there is a store nearby, but I've only got 10 points of scrap to spend there, which will buy me pretty much nothing. So I'm going to go exploring a little bit more. Aha, now I've encountered an enemy ship, and this is where the game sort of swings into action with combat. And you know what, I'm not going to send any of my crew to slavers pretty much because I need at least 3 to really run the ship effectively. So as soon as combat starts up, the game actually sort of drops into a real-time mode. It's paused at the moment, so that gives me the chance to send power to my weapons, and you'll notice that there's only a limited amount of power available to run everything. I could put more power to my engines, which means I'm better able to dodge enemy attacks, but for the moment I'm going to put everything onto the guns. Now, while my guns charge up, I need to tell them what to shoot at. My Artemis, which is a missile system that penetrates energy shields immediately, I'm going to assign to the shields, and I'm going to tell my burst laser to go for the weapons. Unfortunately, not much luck, and I've used up 1 missile already. I'm going to turn on auto fire. And I'm going to power the Artemis off so I don't use up any more. Now at least I've achieved a partial shutdown on one of the weapons. And my shields are in a freeze because they've got some sort of ion cannon. So I'm going to put some more power back to the engines because my Artemis is offline. Although I'm tempted to bring it back on just so that I can try and take out those shields again. So pretty much combat is this really intense game of trying to assign my resources. As my ship also takes damage, I may need to even reallocate crew to different sectors of the ship, maybe to repair the engines or just govern them so I've got a better manoeuvrability, repair life support because I'm running low on oxygen, or just concentrate on making sure that the weapons are manned properly. But the system is empty. I'm going to take a jump, or one thing I might do very quickly is just check another sub-menu which allows me to upgrade my ship. And for the moment I'm going to see if I can get some more power out of the reactor, just so that I can have full thrust available to me and all my weapons should I choose. So again, there's not much point going to the store because I've got not enough to spend there, so let's go to another unvisited location. And once again I've encountered an enemy ship. So let's pause it. Burst laser is already charging, and what the heck, I'll charge up my Artemis. So pretty much it's kind of a waiting game, but you do have to be on the ball because things can change very, very quickly. Alright, this guy's shield system is offline, so I'm going to power off the Artemis and just let the burst laser do the job. Now I can see his doors opening and closing, which means that he's doing his crew are trying to fix his ship. But I've already taken his weapons offline, and the next shot, because he's only got 1 point of hull left, should kill him. And that's it. So as a reward for offing him, I get more resources, fuel, and jumping from beacon to beacon uses up a point of fuel, another missile, and 11 more scrap. And I've got another store handy which I might go to, because if there's one thing I can't do outside of a store, it's repair my hull. So I'm going to fix everything and also buy a couple more missiles, and there's not really all that much else I can do here, and also some more jump fuel. So it's this really neat thing of deciding whether to jump to a new system, explore and hopefully get more resources, or to keep outrunning the rebel fleet, which as you can see is actually closing in on me. So I'm going to jump into the nebula, which hopefully will buy me a bit more time against those pesky rebels. And what do you know, I've encountered another ship, so all power back to the weapons, burst laser on his weapons, Artemis on his shields, and let's see what happens. So yes, even though I've still only got the basic ship after multiple playthroughs, it is still entertaining as heck to play. And also the music, again, fairly basic but still great. Now as you can see, with my 3 crew members on board, because they've been spending time at their specific stations, they have been slowly increasing their skill at various things. So let's jump out of the nebula. Which is going to alert the rebel fleet to my presence. Oh, what the heck, let's attack the slaver scum. We don't like slavers. Ah, and he's got a drone, which I don't have. If I get enough scrap, I could buy a drone controller at a store and spend these drone parts here on building my own, but unfortunately I don't. So, the usual pattern, Artemis on the shields, burst laser on his weapons, and he's slowly wittering away at my shields with that bloody drone. So it's that element of mystery of not knowing what you're going to encounter whenever you jump into a new system that kind of keeps you going. Oh, my shields are offline, so I'm going to very quickly send my shield operator in to repair my life support system, which is not in a good way. And I'm starting to take more damage to my hull. I'm going to take the Artemis offline and send my other crew member back to fix my shields, and also my weapons officer to try and fix my weapons, because I might have to make a jump. Phew, no I don't, because I've managed to destroy that enemy. But I'm going to have to wait for a little while my crew actually fixes up my ship's internal systems. Alright, so I'm going to have to keep going just to outrun those rebels. So yes, as you can see, it's quite the entertaining game, and wouldn't you know it, a rebel scout, and this time I've got to make sure he doesn't get away, or else that rebel fleet is going to get ever closer to me. And I'm just going to reassign my crew. And this time I'm going to tell my out of the system to target his engines. Although I'm running out of missiles, so I better be very careful with how I spend them. Alright, his engines are offline, so he's not going to be jumping in any hurry. I'm still taking damage and my ship is not in a good way, but I cannot jump out. I've got to take him down. So yeah, there's not really that much story, especially when you compare it to similar games in the genre like the incredible and incredibly huge Mass Effect. But it is still entertaining as heck, it is quick to play through, and you can almost guarantee that you'll get action in virtually every sector. And that there will always be something to do. There's just enough micromanagement to keep things fun and interesting while not being enough to overwhelm. And also, you've also got to take into account your overall ship situation before you jump into an unknown situation. Oh boy, life support is not in a good way. You can see my deck slowly turning pink, which means we're running low on oxygen. So I'm going to send one of my crew members in to repair it before they all start dying of asphyxiation. And thankfully there goes my opponent. I'm just going to let my team finish their repairs before moving on. Now, here is the third part of the game. Here is my objective. There's where I've got to get to. So I basically have to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sector jumps. So I've got 8 sectors to explore in total. And all along the way I've got those choices to make. Where do I go? How much time do I spend exploring? Or do I just try and get the hell out of Dodge as quickly as possible and lose out opportunities on upgrading my ship? And when I do jump sectors, do I play it safe to go to civilian sector? Do I take my chances in a hostile sector, or do I go into the unknown and spend the whole time in a nebula? Which is actually what I'm going to do. But anyway, that is pretty much how FTL works. It is simple, yet it is very complex to play, and it's very entertaining. It's available on virtually every PC system out there, so, and for $10, it's almost a no-brainer to buy. If you love science fiction, if you love quick but challenging and thoughtful gameplay, there is no reason not to get FTL.